Hi there, my name's Amanda Poole-Walsh, and I'm the founder of Astrology Hub.
And I am astrologer Stormie Grace.
And we're here for your weekly forecast for the week beginning on November 11th, 2019. But before we dive in, please join us in our new free Facebook group. This is where we are having conversations with you, getting your feedback, engaging with you. So please, it's also gearing all of us up for the 2020 forecast event that's happening in January. So please go on over and join the conversation in your Facebook browser. Just look for Astrology Hub's Global Forecast Community. Astrology Hub's Global Forecast Community. It's free, and we would love to chat with you over there. All right. So, Stormie, tell us about the week. What's the theme?
The theme for this week actually is a full moon focus. And that doesn't just mean a focus on the full moon, but we're really going to watch what's happening with the moon all week long. So I'm going to tell you all about that. Plus, we do have one very exciting rare transit to talk about as we head into Monday.
All right. So let's head into Monday.
Yeah, so happy Monday, happy Veterans Day if that's a thing for you. This is a cool kind of day. Now, the rare Mercury transit we're going to get to see, I'm so excited about. One, because Mercury is retrograde, and so he's going to take this small little walk over the face of the sun. This is a big deal because this is an important moment for us to understand that one small move, one small conversation, one decision can impact us for days or months to come. It's literally the idea that one smaller energy can, in fact, eclipse this bigger one, right? So what this also does for us is it does give us a little bit of warning of maybe some disturbances that are on our horizon. So watch where this Mercury retrograde in Scorpio is happening in your chart. And this may give you an idea of what's brewing beneath the surface that maybe needs your attention. So our job with this is to understand what's being presented, but also pay attention this day. What's the small decision? What's the small conversation you've had? Now, let me give you a little context about this movement. The last time we saw it happen was in 2016. It's not going to happen again until 2032, and then again, of course, in 2039. So if you're in the North Americas, it's neat because for about 5 hours, you'll be able to see it. I mean, Mercury's very small, so it's going to look like this little black dot moving out. So you'll still need a telescope. But still, I was thinking about this, Amanda. I bet Gemini Brett will probably have fabulous pictures of this event.
Yes, he is definitely getting more into the photography of the sky. The other one who is really good at that is Gary Caton. So he also may be getting some good pictures.
Yeah, so we will have to look out for that, and maybe we can even convince them to put some up on the podcast page. Fingers crossed.
Yeah. In our group. Yes, we'll share. If we get any great pictures, we'll share in the free group that you're all going to join.
Yay, it's going to be good. But so this makes me think, I've been thinking about back to what has been a small decision in my life that made a big impact. And I was thinking about you. What's that been like for you, Amanda? What's the small decision? And it maybe even seemed insignificant at the time. And later it turned out to be huge.
I mean, Astrology Hub. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not going to say it seemed like a small decision at the time that I agreed to create it, only because I had no idea what that meant. You know, it was like there was my former business partner who had a domain name, Astrology Hub. And he's like, do you want to do something with me? And I was like, sure. I love astrology. It'd be amazing to get it out to more people. And so, yeah, it seemed like at the time, insignificant because I didn't know what it would end up being. And now it's like one of the most important decisions I ever made, but I didn't know I was making it at that time.
Absolutely. So I just want everybody to look out for that, because as soon as Mercury takes that walk, what happens right after is the sun goes back to beaming light. So it will be huge. And then he's got to cross back through that path again as he comes back. So very exciting.
It's very exciting. And Stormie, isn't this also November 11th? Isn't it also the beginning of a new Mercury cycle?
It is. And we're going to see, too, how the moon cycle actually, we can look back to our last eclipses as well. So the cycles are just on go at this time. So between Mercury, between the moon, we've got a lot happening right now.
All right. So it's big. It's a big day. I mean, I know if you haven't heard episode 46 with Adam Summer, it would be a great time for you to go back and listen to that episode 46, because he talks about the Mercury cycle. So one of the things that he talks about is that right now, whatever ideas you're having, you are now going to be incubating those ideas for like the next 116 days. Is it 116 days? Is that right? I hope I'm getting that right. But anyways, Adam, sorry if I'm messing that up. And Mercury, I'm sorry too. But it's about that many days. And so you'll be incubating that idea. And it's almost like, I love the way that he talks about it. He says like Hermes is essentially giving you a gift of an idea, and what you decide to do with it is up to you. So you can, whatever idea is coming through, that's just like, whoa, like, yes, it's your responsibility. Like last week, our theme was personal responsibility, but it's your responsibility and your choice to now take that idea and incubate it and feed it and cultivate it and let it grow so that it will be something real.
Yes. And it doesn't always come like this booming thought of, oh my gosh, this is the thing. You can even be like, that's crazy. Write that thing down. Write that down. Or just let that thing come out of your mouth. If it's a conversation, this is Mercury. It could show up in a lot of different ways, but don't discount this day.
Perfect. Okay. We're paying attention. We're on high alert. Let's talk about Tuesday.
Absolutely. So Tuesday, we've got the full moon happening in the energy of Taurus. So the full moon brings the unconscious to light and also signals us to use the next 2 weeks to end something, acknowledge something, or make an adjustment, right? So in the energy of Taurus, one of the things we could be looking at going over or bringing to a close in some way, shape, or form is our savings, maybe even the stability of our money, our personal values. We just talked about personal responsibility last week. But ultimately, at this moon, we're recognizing the maturity of ourselves, of our plans, and things like that. Now, this moon does have the intensity of our desires behind it. So thank goodness Hermes dropped us a little cosmic cookie, right? Because the moon is going to be in a trine to Pluto. So this, again, is that great energy for evolving something into reality. This moon will also come into harmonious aspects from Saturn and Neptune, who we talked about last week in making our dreams come true. Take them out of the space of just the vision and let's bring them into reality. So the other thing I do want to bring your attention to and give you a little homework or thought process is, because Mercury is still retrograde at this particular moon, this is a great set of energies to resolve issues of the past, because this moon does have the opposition to Mercury retrograde. So if something needs to be set right, this is a wonderful energy for resolution. So track it in your moon journal and it'll help you see what's going on, or maybe even the conversation that needs to be had. Wednesday and Thursday, this is still moon focused for the week because it's going to encourage our third quarter kind of actions, which this includes this continued influence of the autumn theme that we've been working on, which is relationships. Because here in the third quarter, what we want to do is we want to share, we want to merge with others. Whether this is business or romance or whatever it is, we're wanting to merge and share our ideas here. Now, this is also, again, helped by that influence of Mercury retrograde. It's helping to resolve any communication issues. It's helping to resolve any contract issues, right? And all of it in the end comes into this sense of harmony and balance. Also, I think that the full moon does help to point you in the direction that you want to go, or the way you'd like things to be coming in the outcome. So pretty good energy, I think, as we get ready to travel these last couple days.
Okay, awesome, Stormie. So what like relationships are up for you? What are you looking at when it comes to this?
Actually, it's super interesting. Just where the Mercury placement is at, it is squarely in my third house, just working the heck out of there. And one of the resolutions I've had to come with is the relationship with my scheduler. I had to see where I have been scattered in a way that's not effective, right? I've been placed right in that gift of getting to re-look over here. Like Mercury is like, hey girl, I'm trying to help you get your tacos in a row. Let's look at this. So it's interesting that it is not a person-to-person relationship, but it is my relationship with a thing that I interact with every single day. And now it's got a little bit of resolution around it.
That's so good. That's so good. And such a great reminder. I mean, we're in relationship with everything. You know, like it's not just you always go right to that intimate relationship, your spouse, your partner, and maybe your kids, or, you know, but it can be anything. The other thing from that episode 46 that Adam said about Mercury retrograde, and I think I brought this up on a podcast a few weeks ago, but when you're having those Mercury retrograde moments where things are quote unquote, like not going according to plan, right? Like your computer's not working, your car breaks down, whatever it is, how that's just a moment in time where Mercury's saying, look, you're paying attention to this thing, but remember to pay attention to these other things that are equally or even maybe more important. So in that moment, to ask the question, great, Mercury, I see that what I thought I was going to be doing, I'm no longer doing the way I thought I would. Where would you place my attention? Where should I be paying attention? And see what happens, see what comes up. So that way we're like truly in this relationship, in this co-creative relationship with Mercury and with we talk about this all the time, but being in relationship with the sky, with the planets, with everything.
Yeah. I think that's a beautiful way to think of it too, especially just we're in third quarter actions of the moon, right? Like where are you merged with something or someone else and it needs adjustment? Do it.
Yes. So, okay, we're doing it, Stormie. Now, tell us about the weekend.
Okay. Throughout the weekend, the moon is going to start out traveling through Cancer, and it's important to acknowledge that all the feels could be running very high. So it is important, I think, to be mindful of not being too sensitive or defensive. Or if you do have a more sensitive nature and you know that, just acknowledge that this is where the moon is at this particular time. And instead, it's a great idea to use the time to express your emotions, run understanding with other people. Right? So it's really a very lovely, nurturing, domestic energy, like have a dinner party or something like that. But I will tell you what, sometimes you have to cry about your own lack of organization. At least I do. It is not the first time I have cried myself into a new reality. That's for sure. So if that's what Cancer energy looks like for you this day, you can take that or maybe have a dinner party. But either way, allow yourself to express what's actually happening, because growing up as a human is not the most easy process ever.
I don't know if you're familiar with Michael Beckwith, the man who runs Agape, which is a spiritual community in Los Angeles. Do you know him, Michael?
I know of him.
Okay. Well, Michael Beckwith always talks about how the Earth or the planet is like the weight room of the universe. Like this is where we go to like lift weights and struggle and strain. Like it's not easy, and it's not meant to be easy in that way. But what do you do when you're in the weight room? You're getting stronger, right? You're building your resilience. You're building your perseverance, all those things. So that's part of what we're doing. And I think sometimes for me, at least the thought of like, it should be different. It should be easy. It should be, that's when I resist that. But when it's like, okay, like that's what I'm here to do. Like, whoa, that's actually really empowering. Okay. And yeah, sometimes it's hard, but we can do hard.
Yeah. And the universe gave us tears for a reason. I use mine diligently.
Oh my gosh. I loved tears.
I do. You know what? I had a teacher teach me that tears are just liquid prayers. And I'm like, true story for me anyway.
Totally. I think of tears as technology. Is that so weird? This is like totally my Aquarius rising part of me, but because it's like this built-in technology in our body that allows us to heal, like self-heal and soothe. So if we block it, we're actually blocking our ability to just like heal those things. But if we let it flow and don't have any shame around it, then we actually get to use the benefits of it. So, and I know that that can be really generational too. Well, and also I think women more times feel comfortable crying, but not always. I know a lot of women who never cry. But if it is an impulse that you have, it's like, gosh, it's actually really beneficial to just do it.
I really do think so, because we just don't know everything. Right? And sometimes that is very sad for me as a Virgo rising. I would just love to know it all. But that's the thing, I don't. Right?
Yes.
All right. On Sunday, the moon is going to slip into the sun sign of Leo. Now, we may want to be recognized, or we may want to bring a little bit of fire to our lives. Think about it. You've just had growth and transformation. You're ready. So cosmically speaking, anyways, I say do it. Go be bold. Go be brave on Sunday. Allow new excitement into your world, right? Like just really take that time to take center stage. And if that's not where you're at, it's just as equally delicious to maybe just catch a movie and let the drama fulfill you in that way. But either way, spend a day where you can do some rom-comming or whatever you love that allows your heart to just be big and full and on your sleeve.
All right. So the big theme of the week is around the full moon. So that is the big focal point of our week. we have on the 11th, Monday, the Mercury. So I want to make sure I'm saying this right. It's basically Mercury retrograde is conjunct the sun, correct?
So what I would say is the rare transit of Mercury across the face of the sun.
Is that the Kazemi thing? That word, Kazemi?
Mm-mm. Kazemi, no. Mm-mm.
What is the word when it's actually like physically right on it?
Yeah, that's Kazemi. And so this is not that, because in that 5 hours, Mercury's just going to walk in front of it, but keep moving. When it's Kazemi, it has a standstill.
Ah, got it. Okay, thank you. Thank you. All right. So that's happening on Monday, and it's a very rare moment. We are beginning a Mercury cycle, so pay attention to your ideas, pay attention to any sort of ideas that are dropping in, even if they seem crazy or weird. Write them down and just see if there's any one of them that has the staying power and that you want to work with over the next many months, actually, as Mercury's in this cycle. This is also another week to be evolving something into reality. So making dreams come through and bringing them into form. Then third, there's going to be an opportunity for resolution to resolve things from your past, especially in the realm of relationships. So take a look at that and pay attention to that. Stormie, do you want to add anything to that summary?
I think it's just important this week that you make sure you pay attention to this Taurus energy happening in your chart and where you need to consolidate or get yourself ready. It's the time to be thinking about that now. 2020 is a time where you're going to need to be in action and be prepared. So you might as well start looking at it now so you can have a different experience in 2020 than if you're just having a snap.
Awesome. Okay. Now, coming up next, we are going to be having our Ask segment with Jacqueline, who is wondering about Chiron. So if any of you have questions about Chiron and what Chiron might mean in your chart, she is wondering what Chiron's placement in her chart shows her about her wounds and some of the ways that she can go about healing them. So stay tuned and we will be up with that segment next. Love our forecasts? Get even more detailed information on what's to come when you subscribe to Astrology Hub's new and full moon updates. Just go to astrologyhub.com/podcast and subscribe to our newsletter today. That's astrologyhub.com/podcast. Okay, everybody, welcome back. We are here with Jacqueline Sari, who is calling in from Astoria, Oregon. And Jacqueline, it is so nice to have you on the show today. Thanks for joining us.
Pleasure to be here.
All right. So what is the burning question on your heart?
So I was curious, due to Chiron's placement in my chart, what are my wounds and what are some of the ways that I can go about healing them?
That is always such a good question. It just is, because Chiron is this energy that as soon as you figure out how to use it, you literally can just create gold and peace and serenity for yourself through helping other people. It's one of the most beautiful placements I think that we've got as far as the asteroids. So that said, in your particular chart, your Chiron sits at 22 degrees of Gemini, and that lands nicely in your 10th house. So this is always a much more public kind of space, right? So with Chiron being in Gemini in general, one of the things that gives me the indicator of is that where your wounds are have to do with your means of communication in some way. And sometimes it has to do with just trusting your own voice. Your Chiron is sitting at the top of your chart. So in essence, what's going to happen is you're going to figure out your Chiron energy and then go tell people about it, right? Because the way that you don't trust your thinking, the way you don't trust your voice and that level of power, that can come from several different things, right? It's in your 10th house. So when you were younger, did someone, and it doesn't have to be a parent, did a sibling, did somebody tell you that you don't really have a truth, or did they put you in a position to think that? Or have you just worried yourself into worrying about what other people think, and it stops you from trusting your voice and your intuition and puts you in this kind of held back position a little bit, right? Because what I also know by looking at your chart is that you are a Gemini. You have information. You're like a little information carrier, right? and you're going to be an information sharer up there in your 10th house. Now, I did see too that along the line of the wound itself, your Chiron energy, it opposes your Uranian energy. So this is, again, it's pretty intense because it does make you feel like if you think anything different than the people around you, you're more likely to shut yourself down, shut it down, and just not bring that out, right? Like everybody's talking about the Last Supper and you're like, yes, well, Saturn and Neptune, you're like, I'll just sit quietly, right? That can be something that definitely happens. But, and it also does sit square to your moon, but you've got helpers here. Not only is your sun just shy of a conjunction with your Chiron energy, but they both sit sextile to your Jupiter in Aries. Now, this is the business. That's your helper aspect. In that sextile, we love when the planets have sex because it's an opportunity for us. So if you will start to trust your own voice, if you will learn, if you will gather information that is relevant to share, and you go out and do it quite forcefully, right? You're going to do it like an Aries, but you're going to do it in intimate settings with people. Maybe it's a one-on-one conversation with somebody and you're like, oh yeah, I always worry about what people think of me too, or oh yeah, right? You're just telling them the truth about who you are. But if you will do that quite forcefully and quite honestly, that's the way that you not only identify the wound, but then learn to work with it so that you can have some progress with it. And the best part about it is in some way, I do think down the road, you'll do that a lot more publicly than maybe you were thinking.
Okay. Yeah. All of that is very relevant to what I'm going on right now. I definitely do the go and tell everybody about what I've discovered in my healing and in my, what I like to call recovery. And it was a childhood situation. And so I have learned to heal a bit from that. And I work with children. So I've now been kind of incorporating what I've learned from my own healing into my work as my career. So very relevant.
And it's nice because that sextile truly, it's not just a pocket of harmonious energy. It's nice and it's lovely. But in the sextile, you will intelligently take action to use that energy, whether you consciously know that you are or not. And you have walked yourself right on out of your house and said, look, me too, right? Like I got this stuff going on too. And in it, it creates everything you need to allow that wound to be healed.
Jacqueline, I'm curious why you asked this question. Like what was it about this part of your life that you felt like you needed more clarity on?
So recently I have been like attending like AA and Al-Anon and things that are geared towards recovery. And they have been so instrumental in my changing all of my behaviors, all of my thought processes, all of my conditioning from my childhood. And I thought like, man, this feels so good and it's changing everything. And I really love what it's doing. And I was like, I wonder if that has any relevance to Chiron and its placement and how I'm incorporating it into my work. And I'm like back in school. I officially started back this year and I'm going for psychology with an emphasis on child psychology and probably trauma. So I had to know. I was like, I don't know how to read this stuff. I'd love to think that I have a little bit of information that maybe I could gather from little bits and pieces from online resources, but I don't. And so I figured, why not give it a shot and see if I could get some clarity.
Nice. So this is just like total confirmation that all those little whispers and all that intuition, like you're totally right on.
Exactly. And it's a really good feeling. Definitely a good feeling.
Yep. So honor your intelligence and honor your mind. Keep humility first, but the mind and humility can work together as long as they keep the correct order. And if you keep sharing very intimately, that will be a brilliant use of that energy.
Awesome. And I definitely do. I actually am very open about it with my coworkers and with my family. And even on Facebook, I'm very open about, hey, this is what I used to do. This is how I behave now. These are the things that I'm learning. And I have received quite a bit of positive feedback. And I think it's important for me to just show that I'm a human being and these are my flaws and character defects. And this is what I'm working to do to change them and modify them to help myself and help others.
Absolutely. Well, I think that it looks good. And I think you're taking advantage in the way that I would certainly suggest to any one of my clients. And of course, you have Gemini energy in your 10th house. We were absolutely going to see you on social media.
That's awesome.
Yeah, my Mercury is in Gemini in my 10th house, and I'm like, okay, I need to delete 17 lines of this post. Maybe just happy birthday.
Right. Yeah, I get a little wordy. A little bit. Just a little bit.
Oh, very good, Jacqueline. Well, when you show up that way on social media or wherever you're showing up, you give other people permission to do the same thing. So it's beautiful. Keep doing what you're doing. And thank you so much for being here and a part of our community.
Awesome. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I definitely feel very blessed for this. Absolutely.
Okay, well, if any of you have questions out there, you can go to astrologyhub.com/ask. That's astrologyhub.com/ask and submit your question, and maybe you'll get your question answered on the show as well. And in the meantime, I want to thank you so much for tuning into the show, for being a part of our community, and for making astrology a part of your life. We'll catch you on the next episode.
Hi, this is Chris Kaplan, the producer of the Astrology Hub podcast. This episode is over, but check the show notes for links to products and services you've heard about during this episode. And if you enjoyed our show, please subscribe and rate using the subscribe button wherever you listen to your podcasts.